Well, while the ANC actually hasn't started its nominations process already, we're seeing some leaders in the provinces saying who they want to lead the party at its conference in December. The provincial leadership of the ANC in Limpopo saying they want President Cyril Ramaphosa to remain leader. They're also backing the ANC's treasurer, Paul Mashatile, to be deputy president of the ANC. Reuben Madadzhe is the Limpopo provincial secretary of the ANC. He joins us now. Mr. Madadzhe, good afternoon to you. Why do you want President Ramaphosa to have another term as leader?
No, good afternoon to yourself and your viewers. Yes, of course, we have taken a decision as the Provincial Executive Committee of Limpopo to support Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa for the second term, to continue with the unity and the renewal project of the organization. That's despite Pala Pala. You have no problem with what happened there? The US currency that was on his farm, presumably illegally? No, from where we're sitting, we're not perturbed or disturbed by the stories of Pala Pala, because the stories of Pala Pala are seized with the law enforcement agencies. They are busy doing their investigation. Will be appraised when they are ready with the decision. So you're happy to support someone who's being investigated by law enforcement agencies? Yes, we are happy. There is nobody who is above the law in this country. We must give a chance to law enforcement agencies to do their work. From where we're sitting, we are happy with the leadership of Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, and we think he must be given an opportunity to continue as the president of the ANC come December conference 2022. And Paul Mashatile, why do you believe he should be deputy leader? He's doing a very sterling work as both the Treasurer General and the acting Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. We think we may need to also have a generational mix in the top six, and moreover that you would also want to have somebody who will then succeed the president with the right track record. So you think Paul Mashatile meets all of those things? You think he's the kind of person who would follow on from President Ramaphosa in 5 years' time? From where we're sitting, we think he's the right comrade. You talk about generational mix. Paul Mashatile, I think, is 60 years old. Don't we need a bit more generational mix than that? No. From where we're sitting, we don't think he's of the same age with President Cyril Ramaphosa. When we talk about generational mix, we're talking about that. We're not necessarily talking about the number of years that he has. Okay. You're making these pronouncements, and you're saying very clearly in this interview, I know that you've said it before publicly, that you want the president to have a second term, you want Paul Mashatile to be deputy. But your branches haven't actually met yet. The nominations process isn't open. Why are you speaking ahead of your branches meeting? The decision was not made by branches, was made by the PEC. The PEC going to the conference, it will have its own delegation to the conference as the PEC. Now, the PEC is speaking on behalf of itself. The branches of the ANC in Limpopo, they've got the right to nominate who they think it's a good leader of the ANC. The decision is not meant to micromanage the nominations of the branches. But wouldn't it be more democratic to let them meet first? You're the leadership. Your voice carries weight, and that's maybe why you're doing it, but wouldn't it be more democratic to let them meet first? No, Stephen. What we're doing, we are saying the PEC as a structure will have a voting right in the conference. Branches and regions as well. They will have their opportunity as well. They will have their voting rights in the conference. We are speaking as the PEC of Limpopo. We are not pushing this pronouncement to our branches. We are saying, as the PEC of Limpopo, our nominations going to the conference, President will be Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, Deputy President will be Comrade Paul Mashatile, National Chair will be Comrade Chupusten Matavat. Who would you like to see as Secretary General of the ANC? Would David Mukuru be a good candidate? We're busy engaging with other provinces to try and persuade each other around the remaining positions.
There's some suggestion, and I understand that you are meeting with other provinces. I mean, that's what happens. There's no problem with that. Do you think that the structure of what's currently called the top six national officials, should stay the same? Do you think maybe there should be a change? Could there, for example, be two deputy secretaries general?
Yeah, our belief is that top six, it might need to be beefed up by having another deputy secretary general position to be a top seven. That is our view. We are trying also to participate because in terms of the constitution, this window now is opened for us to submit our submissions as provinces and branches. We are consolidating our submission as a province. We're going to submit before the 15th because the deadline for submissions of the proposal is the 15th of this month.
So instead of a top six, you'd have a top seven. You'd basically keep things the same except for that a second deputy secretary general.
Yes.
Okay. In Mpumalanga this week, the treasurer there, Mandla Msibi, he had to step aside because he faced murder and attempted murder charges. The charges were withdrawn this week. He's now back in his position. Do you think the step-aside rule has been applied properly in this case? Or do you think the step-aside rule is not working in the way it was intended?
No, comrade. No, Stephen. That the issue of Mpumalanga, you can leave it or direct it to Comrade Chirwa, who is the Provincial Secretary of Mpumalanga. I am only bound to speak to issues that has to do with Limpopo province. I may not want to enter into that space, or we may talk to Pulemabe, the national spokesperson.
No, sure, I accept that. I know you don't want to talk about another province, and I'm sort of not really getting to that. What I'm really trying to get to is your view as the Limpopo ANC at this moment on the step-aside rule. I was just using him as an example. Let me remove the example. Do you believe that the ANC should retain the step-aside rule, or do you believe it should be scrapped?
Our issue with the step-aside rule is that it is being applied. Our issue with the step-aside, it was about how it was being applied. We were raising the issue of inconsistencies, but I'm not speaking about, I don't want to be specific to talk to issues of Comrade Manda in Mpumalanga. I'm talking about the position of the Provincial General Council of Limpopo Province.
No, sure, I get that. I mean, what we're really possibly talking about, an example closer to home for you, is Danny Msiza. He had to step aside because of the VBS scandal. I imagine you're frustrated about that.
No, we are referring about the issue which involved also Comrade Florence Razirani. You will understand, Stephen, that before the rules were changed or amended, the step-aside guidelines were saying when there are issues or allegations or a report which is fingering you or alleging that you have got a wrongdoing on your part, you must voluntarily go and see the Integrity Commission or step aside.
Reuben Madadzhe, thanks very much indeed. Really do appreciate the time. The Provincial Secretary of the ANC in Limpopo.